Welcome to Fuel Disclosure, a Moffitt Services podcast. On this show, you will learn how Moffitt Services is pioneering the fuel delivery industry. From fuels and lubricant product news, to stories from the community, to recent industry trends with subject matter experts. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a moment from Moffitt. To learn even more about the Moffitt Services difference, visit moffittservices.com. Welcome back to another episode of Fuel Disclosure, a Moffitt Services podcast. My name is Landry St. Clair, and I'm the marketing advisor here at Moffitt Services. I'm honored to introduce our incredible guest, Tim Miller, with Texas EquiSearch, who's the CEO and founder. Tim, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, good morning. Yeah, I'm Tim Miller, with founder, director of Texas EquiSearch, and kind of an honor to be here today.
Well, we're so glad to have you, and thank you so much. I know you're a really busy man, so we really appreciate having you on the show. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
To kind of get started, we just in case any of our audience members don't know, can you tell us about yourself and your organization, and then kind of the history and where it all started?
It's kind of a long story, but we'll make it short.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in construction for many years, and I was doing pretty well and had a lot of goals. And then my daughter disappeared, and police said she was a runaway, and we couldn't get any help whatsoever. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, 70 months later, her body was found. Ended up 4 girls were found out there. It still remains unsolved today. 2 of them girls were unidentified for many, many years, and just a couple of years ago identified. I remember after Laura's body was found that, I'd go out there where I built that cross, and I'd walk up to it and say, Laura, don't hate your dad. I have to say goodbye. I have to put my life back together, and I can't come out here anymore. And I'd hear that little voice say, Dad, don't quit. And it's like, damn you, Laura, just damn you. And I didn't know what that meant, but I believe I do today. After Laura's body was found, I started following all the missing girls' cases, actually going to the areas where their bodies were found to see if there was any similarities. And a family called me one time, and their 13-year-old daughter was missing. And I remember walking in that house, and when I seen their eyes, I could see that helplessness, that hopelessness, that fear. And I said, man, that's how I had to look for 17 months. And I made this promise, God and Laura, I'd never leave a family alone. Mm-hmm. Still didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah. And
we made a bunch of flyers, got flyers out there. And 2 days later, the mother called me, and she was crying. And she said, Mr. Miller, somebody seen the flyer. And they told us where to go get our daughter. And they got her back alive. And I said, maybe there is something I can do. Yeah. So that's kind of where it started, and I made that promise, God and Laura, I'd never leave a family alone. I still did. Even after that, didn't know what to do. And then I helped with the Laura Recovery Center after Laura Smithers disappeared. Mm-hmm. And then their director asked me what I was going to do with my horses, and so I said, well, I love my horses. He said, why don't you consider starting a mounted search and recovery? And so I did that, and it started out great with a lot of people, and then people would come to our meetings and say, I don't have a horse, but I got an ATV. I'd like to join. I don't have a horse, but I got a boat, and I'm a diver. I don't have a horse, but I've got a helicopter and an airplane. Can we help? And with just one thing led to another. And I really thought that construction would be okay. We'd be doing 2 or 3 searches a year right in the Houston, Galveston, greater Houston area, and I was wrong about that. Now we've been in 42 states, 11 different countries.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. So 42 states, and then how do you find volunteers in all of those different states besides Texas?
I can't even tell you how many hundreds of thousands of volunteers we've had. And one of the things when he's doing a search in Florida for little Kaylee Anthony, there were some people down there on vacation, and they said, we can vacation anytime, but let's go help on the search. And so they came
Oh,
and
wow.
helped on a search, and they was actually from Cincinnati, Ohio. And when they got back to Cincinnati, they said, "Man, we'd like to start a chapter here," so they did. And then when we was in Orlando, Florida, after Kaylee Anthony, we had people there said, "Man, we want to keep this going." So we've kind of got a branch there too. So
Oh, wow. I didn't realize there's different branches. So how many different branches?
we've actually got Orlando, and we've got Cincinnati, Ohio. So we cover
Okay.
we cover a large part of the country, really. And it's not as easy now as it was when I started it. We're living in different times now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our members are getting older. They've been dedicated, and then when they unfortunately can't do it anymore, we're just not replaced them like we used to. It's like younger people are. It's just different. It's just different. But we're still being pretty successful. Out of more than 2,200 searches over the years, as of last week, we recovered our 346th deceased victim and got them home to their families.
Wow.
And brought many home alive that would have been deceased. And a lot of people call us experts, but we're not.
Mm-hmm. Learning every day.
We're not experts because even though all the things that we have accomplished, if somebody goes to our website and see all of them that are still missing, it's kind of heartbreaking and overwhelming. So, our goal is the day come that there's none on our website, but it's living kind of delusional because it's not going to happen. Things are worse today than they were when I started this 22 years ago.
Yeah. Well, what does a typical day look like in your organization? And then when you do get a call that someone is missing, what happens? Can you do you stop everything and you go? Do you send people out? Can you kind of explain to me?
Days in our office. Takes a special person, and God has really blessed us with some special people in our office. And when we get that call, we don't get very many happy calls. Normally the call comes in to us from a family member or something about a missing loved one. And we take that report and we encourage them to go ahead and fill out that report and send a picture of their missing loved one so we can get it on the website. We tell the families also that they need to reach out to law enforcement, let them know that they want our help. And then we have to talk to law enforcement and either be requested or approved to come in.
Okay.
Many times, we may not go in because law enforcement may be running an investigation, and we're certainly not going to interfere in that. We get called by law enforcement all over the country, by FBI, Texas Rangers. The list goes on and on and on. And we've never charged a family. There's families that tried to pay us, and we let them know, listen, you've paid the ultimate cost. You've got a missing loved one. So, we try to figure out what's priority, what's not priority, and we watch the news, and some of these cases make national news, and it goes on and everything. And I remember one time Nancy Grace asked me, what's the biggest high-profile case you've ever worked? And I said, Nancy, every one of them.
Yeah.
Just because they don't make the news. I know that God loves them just as much as they make the ones that make the news, every one of them. So we try to put every effort into every search. Over the years, and again, I'm not going to say anything bragging whatsoever because we've got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But we've got probably more resources than most law enforcement agencies in the country. And again, we've never charged. And we know when there is a case, detectives are busy following leads and doing their investigation, and they really don't have the resources to get out there and search.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten that relationship with them. They'll give us a report. They'll give us everything. And basically, we're the feet on the ground. In the relationship we've had with many, many, many law enforcement agencies over the year is they believe in us, they trust us. Their goal is the same as our goal.
Yeah.
And I always believe that if people do the right things for the right reasons, we may get the right results.
Mm-hmm.
And that's worked out many, many times for us.
Definitely. And what would you say, how can the audience and whoever's listening support you with this? Is it funds? Is it more volunteers that you need in different states? And then how can they do that? Do we just go directly to your website?
Go directly to our website, txeq.org.
Mm-hmm.
Call our office, 281-309-9500, and I know the office administrator is probably going to scream at me for encouraging people to call because they're overwhelmed now.
Yes, we can definitely link your website.
But they certainly take every call. We look at every call serious.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll be out on a search and family member or even law enforcement will come up and say, Mr. Miller, thank you for what you're doing. And I always say, don't thank me, thank Laura. If she was still alive, I sure wouldn't be doing this. So I think about her every day. I miss her. There's always going to be that empty plate at the dinner table, but I've met the most wonderful people in the entire world, because of it. So, we always don't, we never know what God's got planned for us. So I always think I'll just try to continue doing a little bit of his work instead of mine.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't even know how to follow up with all of your words because you just speak them so gracefully. And then also you just recently, a Netflix series came out, The Texas Killing Fields. So definitely want to talk about that and your experience with that. Encourage viewers to view it and kind of learn more about you and your story and why you do what you do today.
Well, Netflix was after me for, a couple of years.
Okay.
I kept turning them down. And then finally I gave in because I'm sure I know who murdered Laura.
Yeah.
And even though he's not been arrested yet, I know that he lived in Ohio, he lived in Florida, he came here, he traveled around a lot. So it was like, you know what, let's take a chance. Let's get the story out there. And with all the families and everything, which I didn't know it was going to be as powerful as it was. And then just see if we can get some calls and some leads and something coming in. And they actually translated that in 37 different languages, and it was shown all over the world.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many calls and emails and stuff we got from literally all over the world. We actually got some calls with some people that had information on the person that we're interested in. And, in fact, I'm getting a few goosebumps right now just thinking about it. And but sitting there watching it, and we had a watch party. It was nearly 150 people came to it. And the thing that affected me the most is I was sitting right beside Marla, which was his stepdaughter, this guy, and all the things that he did to her and everything. Everyone still has an effect on me. I just love her and what she's accomplished, considering what she's been through.
Yes, and she was so brave.
And then also meeting Heidi Fai's family, which Heidi's niece came to me a year ago. And Heidi's dad had all these cassette tapes, 32 of them with an hour on each side, that he talked into, and then a diary that he wrote and everything. And I remember back in the day when the police department told me, don't get with Heidi's family. They're trying to get over Heidi's death. They got with Heidi's family, don't get with Miller. And they did everything they could possibly do to keep us separated, not compare notes. And then a year ago when Heidi's niece came to me and we went through that stuff, it was Heidi's dad was complaining about the same thing as me.
Yeah.
With the investigation and everything. And unfortunately, Heidi's dad passed away in the 90s, and at one time, because then we didn't know who Jane and Janet Doe were, and then Heidi's dad passed away, and there was no communication with that family, and it was like I felt like there's more stress now. It's like I'm the father of all these children, and I got to keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not the. We've gained a lot of respect over the years, but I'm not the big hero of League City Police Department and some of these investigators. But this isn't a popularity contest by no means.
Yeah. If you had to use one word to describe your organization as a whole and what you do, what would it be?
Oh, my God.
It's a hard one.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Mm-hmm.
We're humans. Yeah, we've shed a lot of tears together. We've shared some laughs when we got them home alive. I know I've done this, and I know our members do this. At the end of the day, when we're on a search and we don't come up with anything, we lose a lot of sleep. Say, man, what could we have done different? What could we have done better? Many times, nothing. So, yeah, this has taken over my life. Of course, I had different plans and everything. And in fact, it's I still go to therapy.
Yeah.
Thank God. One of the things I talk to my therapist about is that everybody knows me as Mr. EquiSearch. And nobody knows me as Tim Miller. Including me, I've kind of lost my own self, my own identity through all this, and kind of struggling to kind of get that back and figure out who I am besides Mr. EquiSearch. So, and the emotional toll this has taken on the families, and God, I've been involved with so many families over the years of missing and murdered loved ones, and I've been to way too many funerals for parents that have literally died of suicide, alcohol, drug addiction.
Terrible.
And literally at a young age of a heart attack, literally dying of a broken heart. And it's like, God, why'd you choose me?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the support that I've gotten and kind of like the positive people I'm surrounded with.
They keep you going.
Oh, my God, yeah. If I live a few more days, I'll be 76 years old, and I'm not close to quitting.
Yeah. That's what we like to hear. Can you kind of explain to us, I know, about how Moffitt has helped you in your searches here in Texas or even nationwide, and then also just explain when you first got to meet Roy and kind of how that relationship began and built out?
You know what I can say with about Moffitt? If it wasn't for Moffitt, I don't know if we'd be here today with their support. And I remember meeting Roy and Steve Skidmore and everything some years back.
Yeah.
And we was doing a search in Pasadena for the Sylvester children. There's Randy and Denham Sylvester, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that disappeared on Father's Day. And they came in from New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. And we had a massive search going on. And Roy called me up. He said, "What can I do to help?" And I said, "Man, we're driving so many places, and we got so many people and stuff. Man, if you can help out with a little bit of fuel." And within an hour, there was a fuel truck there. He was filling up everybody's vehicle, our command center and stuff. And said, "Man, whatever I got, we're here for you. The
Sounds like Roy.
Sylvester kids, we found their bodies. Their father murdered them on Father's Day, which really touched all of us. Then Roy said, it looks like you need fuel more than you ask. And they brought 2 tanks out to my house with gas and diesel, so we would always have fuel. He helped out someone financially back then in the day. And then I got very, very close with Roy. We had dinner many times together. We cried together. We laughed together and stuff. And then, he sold Moffett. And it was like, oh, my God, our relationship's over with. Well, I stayed in touch with him and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they started up again, he said, I want to help out more than I did. And I don't care what case we're working. I can call Roy and tell him he's got fuel trucks there. What he's done on the financial help for office administrator and stuff was just taking a financial weight off of us. And all the connections that Moffett has with other people, with their customers that he's reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've done a couple big digs. In fact, we just got digging in the landfill for a little 2-year-old girl that's missing. And we didn't have the equipment, and Roy reached out to one of his customers. They brought the big equipment. He brought the porta potties out there. He brought the fuel out there. And literally in a matter of minutes, we did another big search earlier this year on a cold case where we was digging up a girl that was murdered back in the very early 90s. And again, he reached out and equipment was there, fuel was there. And then he's always calling and checking in.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? Do you need anything else? So, and I'm very, very serious when I say this. The customers and connections that Steve Skidmore and Roy Moffett have that believe in us also now, and what Moffett has done, God, emotionally, spiritually, and financially for us. I truly don't know if we would have the doors open today. And I mean that when I say it.
Yeah.
It's
so powerful.
There's no way now with the office staff that we have, which our office staff is way too small still now. Mm-hmm. And so what they do, they're just overwhelmed. But to make the payroll on it, I don't think we would have the money to go out on the first search. So stepping up plate like they have is, I wish there was another word beside thank you, because it's not powerful enough word for what Moffett has done for us.
I think that's just, and I think we feel the same way, just speaking from Moffett, is a thank you to you and everything that you've done and how you're helping others, especially Texans, and then also nationwide. I know Moffett wouldn't be the same without you and having you as an organization that we can help you support. And we're just grateful to get the opportunity to work with you and everyone who, and all the volunteers and all of the families that you've helped. So thank you to you as well.
Well, but you know what, and everybody thinks of us as the EquiSearch people and the members and everything. But Moffett is one of the biggest members.
Yeah.
You know, they're more than supporters and helpers. They're members. They step up to the plate. And God almighty, so many things that we've done that we wouldn't have been able to do without them.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for bringing all of a light. Honestly, I didn't even know all of the ways that Moffett supported until I spoke with you. So it's been good, and thank you for speaking with me. I just remember I was at Rusty's house, and we turned on the TV, and the first thing that we saw was you were wearing the Moffat shirt in the first shot in the Netflix show. And we were like, oh my goodness, Tim, that's so awesome. So we were super happy to see the Moffat name and to be able to support you as well.
Well, I've got it on now. I was on Fox News this morning. I had it on there. In fact, I think once in a while I sleep with it.
We need to make sure we always Moffat shirts on deck for you. We need long sleeves, sweatshirts. So that's something the marketing team can definitely do for you. And then just lastly, I know we spoke on it a little bit, but the call to action and how others can help. So volunteers, they can sign up on your website.
Volunteers can sign up on our website. Financially, donations are tax deductible. They can do that on our website. The girls always need some work in the office. We always need more people out there in the field, ground searchers and literally people with boats, people with ATVs, and but more important than anything, people with compassion and a heart.
Yeah.
That's what made this organization what it is.
Well, thank you again, and hopefully we can use this podcast to get you some more volunteers and some donations, and it's an honor to have you on the show, Tim, so thank you.
The honor's mine, and again, without Moffat, I don't think we'd be sitting here right now. So thank you all for everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fuel Disclosure, a Moffat Services podcast. Thanks again to Tim Miller from Texas EquiSearch joining us on this show. Be sure to tune in and listen on some more insights on how you can learn more about the philanthropies that we support. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fuel Disclosure, a Moffat Services podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a moment from Moffat. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level with a team that delivers industry-leading service and no downtime, visit us at moffatservices.com.